Okay, so I have finally finished Shin Megami Tensei 3, specifically Shin Megami Tensei Mania's Chronicle Edition, which was released back on 2008 on PS2. I have been putting off this game time and time again, all because I have only heard that this game is difficult, and honestly, that was the sole reason preventing me from ever experiencing megaten games for the longest time, not just SMD3. But now, for the record, I have played Strange Journey, and that game is also known to be difficult, so I thought I would be okay with SMD3 as well. But I was wrong. It took me several months to finish this game, and I can confirm that yes, this game is indeed a difficult one, and you have to have a real patience and persistence, as well as some discipline to a certain degree even. I would even go as far as to say it was a real self-improvement journey for me as well, because it pushed me to the point of getting megaten fatigue, but I still kept going because I have told myself so. But now here I am. I have gone through a megaten trial as a demi-fiend like everyone else, and I look forward to share my suffering experience with the viewers. First off, the main title screen really just sets the tone for me with the song and everything. I would love to elaborate further if I know more adjectives to add to, but just know that I really love the art direction in this game from start to finish, not just the main title screen. For the setting, I set cursor memory off and auto repeat on so that I can have a slightly good experience with random encounters. I have heard that there is an easy mode in recent SNE3 HD remake with voice acting and everything, but I am playing the 2008 version, so normal is what I went with. Once you are inside the game, you will see a woman. She is Takao Yuko, your teacher. Here, you have to give yourself a name so that you survive the patch. I know SNE3 protagonist is known as Demi-Fiend, so I will be using Demi-9 as a name for this game. You can also give name to character however you like, but I will be going with canon name like always. After that short segment, you will come out from Yoyogi Park Station. A message from your classmate Nida Isamu appears on your phone asking you to come see teachers quick in the hospital. Pick up some drink for the vending machine and head out to the 2D overworld map. We are back to the car navigation style, and that's all I need from megaten games. Take a good look around this place because you won't be seeing this scenery again for a while. I talk around NPCs for a bit and quickly decide to just tackle the main story only instead of collecting laws about these games while building. So a quick notice to everyone who is watching this video. I will be touching on a really surface level story and plot and focus more on talking more about my overall experience with the game and its gameplay aspect. But for SMD3, I want to talk more about dungeon instead, and also atmosphere and vibe of course, which are like one of the best things this game has to offer. So back to the 2D overworld map again. I was kinda lost at this point finding the entrance to Yoyogi Park, but at last I found it, and here I met with Hiji. We'll be seeing him a couple of times across the game inside Terminus, and aside from that, he doesn't really play a huge role in this game, or at least for the Takao Yugo's ending I chose to go with. I chose this particular ending because this ending apparently is a good ending, and I want to be happy at least after all this hardship I had to endure and overcome. So I hope that's a good enough reason for my choice. Here we got another phone call from another classmate, Tachibana Chiaki, telling you to hurry up as well. So after all those phone calls shouting at me to head to hospital, I decided to head to the hospital. The group finally meet up, and this is the impression I get. Isamu is like a cowardly person who has a crush on a teacher, and Chiaki is like a spoiled rich lady who is all high and mighty, oozing with indifference to everyone kind of energy. The power hierarchy in this group might even go from Chiaki to Isamu and then to you, who is an errand boy in the trio. After that, head down to the underground of this hospital. Down here, you will find Hikawa, who has been missing for a while as shown in the news. Aside from that, he has this magnificent Vegeta hairline. He said he is tired of all this hatred and BS happening in the war and he wants quietness among all this chaos. He then sent out what I think is Anubis, but before we are about to get killed, Hugo come inside the room and save us from the trouble. Saying if he were to kill me, she said she won't cooperate with Hikawa's plan anymore. Hikawa then let me go and then return back to enjoying the final moment of this war in silence, and I just asked to leave the room. Hugo then tells me to come to the rooftop and see the wall that is about to be changed. On my way up there, I met with an old lady and a kid for a brief moment. I have a feeling this kid was supposed to be Lucifer, who is a new addition, a real true boss of SMD3 Mania's Chronicle Edition. But this boss fight will only get unlocked if you go through all of the new optional dungeon, Amara Wall. I hate that dungeon a lot, but I had to collect those death stones to fuse margin devils, so I had to put minimum effort into that dungeon whether I liked it or not. But as soon as I did that, I stopped at the 4th one and never returned again. Aside from collecting death stone, you get lost from finishing each stages, unlock devils that you have beaten before, and bind devils with unique skill sets. Among those devils, Green Megala on 5th Amara Wall has PS skill, which lets you attack through physical resist and block, which is really OP, combined with a protagonist signature move. But the thing is, I didn't manage to get both of those OP skills in my playthrough. Or should I say, I chose not to just because I was getting tired and bored with the game at that point after 60 plus hours. But I'm here to say, the game is beatable on normal difficulty, even if you are fairly unprepared like I was. But I'm getting ahead of myself with this long tangent. So once you are on the rooftop, Yugo will talk to you about Tokyo fertilization. She wants that surviving the fertilization will give me a life more painful than that. But still, she asks you to come and see her in the next war, and shortly after that, the fertilization starts. While we are in this weird limbo state, Kakuzuchi asks you what idea I had. I had nothing right now, so it asks you to go find it, because if I were to live in the next war, having a goal is mandatory. When you open your eyes, a kid will drop a parasite inside you and turns you into a devil. That is the first Magatama you got, and every time you switch it, imagine swallowing these parasites time and time again. Aside from that, Magatama acts as an equipment system in SMD3 instead of your usual body equipment. Each Magatama comes with different typings, different stat supplements, and different skill sets, which can be obtained by leveling up. You are given only 8 skill slots throughout the game, and once you have to replace one over another and delete it, consider it gone for good. So be sure to think really hard before you make any decision. By the way, this first Magatama is called Marugare, and it is from this Magatama that you can unlock PR skills after you finish the 5th Amala War. Now let's talk about stats, which we all love about RPGs. Currently, I'm at margin, but depending on which alignment you lean towards, the name will change. For me, I ended up with Seima for Yugo's ending. Then we got the usual self-explanatory stuff, and then we got stats, strength, magic, vitality, speed, and luck. The best build has to be magic build for the early to mid game, then change to physical build from mid to late game, where most devils will have typings that is good against magic attacks. Next we got speed, which is arguably the most stat for any turn-based game, period. Without getting any turn advantage to your favor, it is kind of pointless to play a turn-based game in the first place, if you think about it. Adjust the speed as you progress the game and put one into the stats as you see fit. Like Pokemon, 1 point can make a difference, so it is important and also not very important at the same time. For me, I try to put points into speed if I am slower than devils during random encounters, whenever I enter new dungeons. Vitality gives you 4 HP every point, and then we have leg stat. Put at least around 10 to 15 points to open doors in 3rd Amala War if you want to get Jaagu Frost and bind death stones. If not, ignore that stat unless you want crit boost or faster best status recovery or something. Megaten games, if you put some time into it, as you can see, it is not really complex and can be enjoyed by most beginner players who is interested to try the franchise. Highly recommend you try out this game if you haven't. Though this video is not really made with intent to encourage new players, I would be lying if I said I don't want to see new players suffer in SMD3 like I did. So you woke up half naked with tattoos all on your body after that, you are now a demi-human. You can negotiate the devils without any devices. You can see the map without any magic, and you can walk around without costing magnetite. Pretty convenient if you ask me. Then first human being we meet is Hijiri inside terminal room. Here you can save and then quick travel between terminals throughout this game. Then when you get out, you will get sucked into another dimension and fight a couple of really weak devils. At this point, just go auto and punch them and gain some EXP and level up. By now, drinks you took from vending machine will turn to healing items, so use them if you need them. No need to be greedy and no need to hoard items. This is the mindset I have to keep reminding myself every time I play megaten games, thanks to all those Pokemon games I have played my whole life that really spoiled me with turn-based games. Once you get out of Lucifer's barrier, you can progress further in this hospital dungeon. So go up and you will find Pixie, who will enter your party as the very first party member. Now, first couple dungeons in SMD3 are relatively straightforward, so I won't be spending too much time talking about boring stuff. So let's just right into the first boss battle with Fortunius. For the fight, I got Pixie, Shikigami, and Kodama. I have been playing megaten games in whatever orders I like until now, and turns out it is SMD3 that they first introduced the press stand mechanic, where the game encourages you to hit weakness to generate turn advantages to prevent enemies from gaining advantage from you in return. Here are a couple of more things I recognize with the gameplay. More phases are back, and a few boss fights utilize it in a really interesting way, and a few skills as well. Press stands are shown in this icon. Hit weakness and you get extra turn. If you get reflected or absorbed, all your remaining turn will disappear. Unlike SMD4, switching devils between active and stock will cost you a turn, whereas SMD4 will only cost you half of your turn. But if I remember correctly, Strange Journey also has that mechanic as well. You can also pass to next party member and generate an extra turn. Defeating Forunias gives you another megaten. Then you meet with Lucifer, which is then followed by meeting with a familiar face, Raido. As a player who has played one Raido game, this cameo appearance is really cool. I thought about playing the version where Dante is included, but I'm not really familiar with that franchise, so I had to go with Raido in the end. Not that I ended up using Raido on my team, because it is locked behind 5th Armada wall if any of the viewers are wondering. Next, we need to head to Shibuya. On the way, enter Yoyogi Park and trigger Pixie event. I decided not to release Pixie and keep it inside my party. It is said that if I kept Pixie on my party towards the end of the game, I'll be able to trigger a special event. But while I was playing, I accidentally deleted a devil I have used Pixie to fuse with, so it was for nothing in the end. After that one detour, I head to Shibuya. It is here my Pixie evolved into High Pixie. Devils evolve in SMD3, which is new to me, and it makes my life easier a bit with devil fusions. Here we get to meet with Chiaki, who is looking hopeless with no hint of a high-class attitude anymore. Then we meet with Hijiri inside Terminal. He suggests we hand down Hikawa in Ginza and proceed to teleport me into Amara Network, and there are 3 of them in SMD3. The first Amara Network is the little warp maze. Walk around a bit and you will meet with Spectre, who you will have to fight a number of times every time you enter Amara Network. For the fight, I got High Pixie, Dazueba, and Kahaku. Try to bring down as many Spectre as you can before it fuses into one big block. But even if it fuses, you can still beat it, so easy boss fight so far. Getting through this network, you get interrupted and wander into Amara Wall and meet young lady and an old man pair this time. And you will meet them every time you are able to clear Amara Wall and they will drop law for you. Then you will come out from the terminal straight into Ginza. It is here I was a bit lost as to what to do next. Turns out you have to do the following steps in order. Talk to Madame Hughes at the bar in Ginza. Here, Loki won't let you enter his treasury yet, so head to Harumi storage in the east of Ginza and enter the Enterprise. Here we have our first encounter with Manekata, which are being said to be made from mud and really weak. Enterprise is filled with ladder to go up and down, and we'll be grinding here a bit later. After meeting with one of the gem collecting Manekata here in Enterprise, he asks for an item in exchange for letting us proceed with the game. Go talk to Loki at the bar, and then you will have to enter Ginza from the other side. At first glance, it is barely visible on the overall map, but places you can enter has tiny red flashing thing. Enter the treasury and get the item, and when you try to leave, you got attacked by the guard of this room. Throw. Beat the guy and give the item to Manekata. He will then tell the door guard to let us pass through. Passing through the door, we will have our first fight with one of many margins in this game, Matador. I dread these fights in early games, but later, these fights become something I look forward to as I progress the game. They are challenging to fight and really does push you to adapt the game's difficulty and make full use of its mechanics and system. So for Matador, I have Ameno Uzume, Nozuchi, and Baikon, and I had to spend time grinding some level down in the Enterprise to fuse the devils I have right now. Defeating them gets you an item that lets you proceed further down Amara Wall, so fighting margins become optional later. But I will be using margins mostly to beat the game, so defeating all of them is a mess for me. Once you came out from Enterprise, head to Ikebukuro next and go to Mantra Army Headquarters. There, you will meet with your friend Isamu arguing with Thor and got smashed really hard by Thor's hammer. I felt really sorry for Isamu during this moment, and it only got worse when Thor reached his hand to Isamu and sucked his life force or Magasuhi out of him. Then you will get captured by Banjo Nue and locked inside the prison. Check the hole left and right, then Jet Legend will appear to take you out to fight to death or prevail and live. First off is against Orutoros. I got Inugami, Kronzon, and Ameno Uzume. After the fight, the game will give you the time to prepare your party to switch Magatama and He. So do that and continue fighting. Second fight is against Yakushini. I got Ameno Uzume, Takemi Nakata, and Nozuchi. Then finally, we get to fight with Thor. I had to fight him twice, and this is the first one. And for this fight, I got Takemi Nakata, Inugami, and Kronzon for him. After you defeat him, you got another Magatama, and you are now free to leave the prison except for your friend who is locked away forever inside the place. I forgot to mention that be sure to visit Jiangshore whenever you can to buy Magatama, because you never know what kind of types you need to face in the future. If you go back to Mantra Army headquarters after that, you will meet with Raido and fight with him. Raido uses basically the same skill in the game but with different summoning animation. The fight is more like a fan service than anything, but still he can unleash really strong physical attack on you, so I got Momonofu, Takemi Nakata, and Kronzo. Once you defeat Raido, head inside and head to the topmost floor of the headquarters. But before I do that, I want to check on my friend Isamu. He tells you that Yugo is in Nihilo mechanism and that before long, soldiers from Mantra army will head there and attack them. So Isamu requests that I save the teacher in his place. After that, I rode an elevator that takes 1 minute long all the way up to 60th floor. Talk to Gozu Tenno up there, and now your devil stock limit increased by 2. Gozu Tenno will ask you questions which will determine which ending you will get, so choose carefully. And there will be more questions like this asked by the game later. Taking the elevator back for another 1 minute is out of question for me, so I chose to jump straight down to the ground manually. Turns out my entire party's HP reduced to 1, so be sure to heal before you take a single step forward, because worst case, you will die for a random encounter and will have to ride that elevator again. After that, it is time for another margin battle again. This time, it is Daisojo. I got Ameno Uzume, Kikuri Hime, and these for this fight. Daisojo can insta-kill you with Hama and Mudo skill, so I brought these specifically for that reason, as he has Tetraja, a skill that protects you from insta-kill attacks. And now that we have defeated Daisojo, we will be adding him to my party soon. This Majin in particular is really useful as a healer throughout the game, as it also has the best MP recovery skill equipped right from the get-go. Next destination is in Ginza, so use Terminal to head to Nihilo Mechanism. It is right around here SMD3 dungeons start to get really tricky and difficult. SMD3 is technically a dungeon crawler, but transitioning into 3D dungeon with this game opens the door to many different variables of puzzles to solve in dungeon, making each dungeon crawling experience really unique, and I have been looking forward to talk about dungeons for this game in particular, which is pretty rare for me since I mostly look forward to talk more about gameplay in megaten games. Not that gameplay of SMD3 is bad by any means, but dungeons though, they are completely different beasts that drove me insane, and one of the reasons it took me so long to beat it since I had to wrestle with my emotions quite often. So in Nihilo Mechanism, you got to do the switch puzzle and fight some devils along the way. Incubus, Kobatengu, Erigo, and Beres. Then comes annoying part where Kyun will mess around with the switches and make you get lost in the maze. To get past that, you got to find the real one among these 8 rooms. Only one of them has the real one and the rest are clones. After defeating all devils and collecting keys, insert them inside the device and use elevator to go up. There you meet with Hikawa, who tells you a little about his plan. He first used the Magazuki collecting cylinder to shoot a beam towards Mantra headquarters for payback for attacking this place. Yugo also seems to be responsible as a medium for giving power to the cylinder as well. Then he decided I'm not supposed to be alive and sent out Ose. I got Socho, then Deez, and Ameno Uzume for this fight. Ose can dish out high damaging physical attacks. He also has Degunda, a skill that clear debuff, and Degaja, a skill that clear buff, so you'll be able to reliably buff or debuff. But luckily, Ose has low MP, so if you can stall a bit, you will have easier time fighting him. After the fight, Ose says there is no way I can save Yugo anymore since Nihilo Mechanism will shut down momentarily. Just as he said so, you will get thrown out involuntarily outside that place shortly after. With no place to go immediately, I decided to go back to Ikeburo to check Mantra headquarters. Inside, you find Chiaki, who came to tell you that she has casually decided to create her own war. She tells you that the previous war was useless and no longer needed, but the fact that she is alive till now proves that she is the chosen one. She thinks if she endures all the sadness inside her, she thinks she can become stronger, and that she wants to create a war where only strong ones like her are needed. She reveals from now on, she is going to be collecting Magazuki needed to create the war, and after that, she left. With all that, after math from Blast before, all of the soldiers are down for good, so Isamu seemed to have the opportunity to escape his cells. He expressed how he is disappointed in me for not bringing the teacher back, and then tells you about the rumor of Manekata who can see the future. Then I pay another visit to Gozu Tenno. This trainer Manekata tells you that he can locate a maiden at a place where Magazuki are gathering. Gozu Tenno said he is waiting for a worthy vessel to show up in order for them to serve as his container for his power, and then one day he will revive again. He does not want the kind of quiet war Hikawa wants to create. After telling you how angry he is, the statue crumbles. When you leave the room, you meet with Thor. He tells you that everything is useless now, including the gate they have been guarding, and that he will be traveling solo for a while. After Thor left, I jumped down again and to save time. Head inside again now that the gate is open and exit Ikebukuro from the east. And it is on the highway that we get to face another Majin, Hell Angel. Hell Angel use fire and impact attacks frequently, so I got Hell Angel, Amino Uzume, and Sarasu Vati. The trick I used was this: Hell Angel used wing attack and that has Sagaja effect, so I kept baiting out the wing attacks to hit my team that can block wing attacks to gain the 10 advantage. Way back when I defeat Majin Matador, Avais told me to come visit Amara War from Terminal. Like I said, I never really liked the idea of bonus dungeon added to any games, not just megaten games, but I had to do it in Strange Journey game to get the good ending. But this time, I'm only going down this wall just to get the death stone needed to fuse Majin Devils and nothing more. Anyways, here are the reasons. 1. Because I don't like getting overpowered and throw off the game balance by doing main story and related things. 2. Because I have to play this minigame every time I enter the wall or go to another layer. 3. Because puzzles. For example, first layer of Amara Wall has pitfalls and damaging ties. Second layer has dark zones, one-way doors, and invisible walls. And in third layer, you won't even be able to proceed unless you have invested a certain amount of points in strength, magic, and leg step. Combined with one-way doors and an anxiety-inducing cat and mouse chase with Raido, this is my final draw with Amara Wall. But I still had to start my foot a bit into 4th layer to get one more death stone to make margin by going through a long and avoidable damaging room. That's a summary of my Amara Wall experience, so now let's go back to where I left off before. Once I got my first death stone, I used it to fuse Majin Matador. Not only do you need death stone to fuse them, you also need to get a certain result and a certain moon phase to get it. It takes a bit of work to get them, but it's worth it, as Majin Devils are really strong with good typings and also come with a built-in signature skill that cannot be inherited. That said, I didn't manage to use Matador all that much in the end unlike other ones, but I still think it's cool to have them in my party regardless. This dungeon has a gimmick where you get to go in and out between the real world and the mirage world. You have to use some of your brain cells here, so I didn't like it that much. At the end of this dungeon, you get to fight with Mizuchi, and I have Valkyrie, Ameno Uzume, and Sojo them ready. Normally, I will elaborate more the fights even if there is no trick or gimmick, but I have thought and talked about the same usual megaten stuff already with other titles, so I am intentionally going through boss fight really fast or even leave some out entirely. After the fight, you meet with Manekata who can see the future, Futomimi. He suggests I go and visit my friend who apparently got captured once again trying to see Futomimi. So I did that, and what do you know? Isamu blames me once more for not saving him faster. He also seemed to have given up on being a good boy trying to save his teacher and got angry at the fact that he is not that strong and always have to wait for someone to come and save him in the end. He now believes he has to go solo and seek for the truth by not looking outward but inward instead, without the help from anybody. And he can feel that he can find the answer inside Amara Network, which is my least favorite dungeon to crawl through. Not because of puzzle or anything, but because how weak and redundant random encounters there can be, and it doesn't really have any significance relevant for the main plot line in my experience. And while I am on the topic of talking about my least favorite dungeon, the character and storyline I want to follow the least is also Hijiri, who is also closely related with Amara Network, and this whole plot line with Isamu. Isamu is great because he is annoying and insufferable brat, and I know right there and then that I can't wait to beat the shit out of him when I get to face him in the late game. After Isamu went inside Amara Network, exit the room and you meet Futomimi with his brethren, who all came to thank me for saving them. And as a present, he uses clairvoyance power to see my future and tell me where to go next, which is Ginza. Not a present I was looking for, but I will take it. The person waiting for me there is Hijiri, who tells you that Manekata I have saved are setting their base in Asakusa, which can be reached by going through Ikebukuro Tunnel. Ikebukuro Tunnel has dark zone, pitfalls, and a bunch of ladders to climb and damaging zones. This part is optional, but you can fight Kinki, Yoki, and Fuki, and once you defeat all three of them, you can fight Ongyoki. This boss fight has a gimmick where you need to fight him on full moon phase so that when he uses Kage Bunshi no Jutsu, the real one will have shadow attached to it and you are supposed to attack that one or else your time will be a waste. After going through the tunnel, go inside the terminal and meet with Hiji, who will ask you to explore around Asakusa a bit while you investigate the cylinder. But before I do that, I head back to second layer of Amara Wall to trigger the 4 Horsemen event in third layer. And this layer is wild. It has one-way doors, pitfalls, invisible walls, and hidden doors. After you trigger the event, 4 horsemen will start appearing in the outside, and it's my job to hunt them down one by one. And the first one just happens to be waiting for me outside the terminal. White Rider has this signature skill called God Arrow that can almost one-shot everything in the game unless they block or reflect hammer attacks. And I will be using this skill a lot when I eventually add White Rider to my party. I got Valkyrie, Encore, and Daisojo on the party, so this fight was easy and I was able to defeat him first try, unlike Matador. Asakusa is a really weird to explore. It is divided into segments and you have to go around this circle to reach Mifunashiro. But before we head there, go to West segment and meet Sakahagi, who is a Manekata serial killer that also collects Makasuhi from his victims. After telling me his goal is to rule over devils one day, he disappeared. Once you have done this part, go to Mifunashiro and meet with Fudomimi, the Manekata who can use clairvoyance. He welcomes me warmly to their newly built city, but even if I were savior to their tribe, he still cannot let me enter their sacred place inside Mifunashiro. Fudomimi aims to create a world where Manekata can live happily, but before he goes back to his prayers, he warns about Sakahagi. After that, go back to Terminal to meet with Hijiri and he will tell you about Obelisk in Chiyoda, which can be reached by using second entrance of Nihilo mechanism. But before we progress the game, I decide to fight another Majin, which will appear in the Enterpass, right outside the terminal. These horsemen will bring along their friends with them, so try to immobilize them as quickly as you can without killing. Because whenever you kill their friends, Red Rider will use boss skill that increase its own turns, which completely go against your favor. So instead, I petrify his friend and just focus fire Red Rider. This trick will be used on more bosses in the future as well. Nihiro's second entrance is a short segment, so go through it quick and get to Obelisk. Obelisk is arguably my worst nightmare of all time. I hate crawling this dungeon from start to finish. It has many two-way lifts mixed with one-way lifts. Then some floor has puzzle where you have to step on total amount of moonface shown on the icon in front of you. If you miss a single calculation, you will have to start again from the start. It is here you go to fight with 3 Moirai sisters. I'm guessing this is where these 3 devils debut in megaten games and many others as well, where their design persists for many titles later down the line. Turns out those sisters are the ones who set up all the puzzles in this dungeon, so I now have a reason to beat the shit out of them when I eventually make all the way up there. So it is on the 128th floor that you have to fight one of each sister in order, or else you will miss a step and start all over again, including the fights as well. First I fight with Kuro, Lagesis, then Atobros. Then when I get to the topmost 142nd floor, you get to fight with all 3 sisters at the same time. As if the game has been telling you what to do, you also need to defeat starting from Kuro because she is the healer, then defeat Lagesis who can buff and also put up physical and magical reflect walls. After all that, attack Atobros who is the main attacker last. After all that, you finally get to meet the maiden of this place, Yuko, your teacher. After all that big talk about how she will help me in the next war and all that, we see her in a state of merely used as a pawn for Hikawa. He also seems to have deceived her by saying she will be in the center of the next war, which is technically true since she has been hung upside down literally in the middle of Tokyo. So in the end, I was the one who has to save her. I say it, but I feel like I'm the only one doing all the works in the entire game, so it's no surprise to me at this point. Then she tells you she found her own god while she has been locked up inside here, which is Aradia, who is like a stray god that shouldn't be in this world to begin with. Aradia then proceeds to give you step boost and increase your devil stock before it disappears, taking Yugo as well. Then the old man and the chime pair appear again and kind of reveal that I have sort of entered the final portion of mid-game. Then one as that people will start awakening one after another to choose their path, and I too will have to at some point before they disappear again shortly after. Now that I have done what Hijiri asked me to do, return back to Asakusa terminal and report back. The hero mechanism has now stopped working for good with Yugo gone, so he is fine with just that. Then he tells me that he saw my friend Isamu in Amara Network and asks if I want to go. I do want to, but before that, I need to fight another Majin, Blood Rider, who will be waiting for me all the way back in the hospital inside one of the rooms. This has been foreshadowed by the NPC in this room at the beginning of the game, so it is not all that random. I got Daisojo Hair Angel and Seiryu for the fight. I got one shot by Petra I, which should just be a best status petrifying skill, but no, in SMT3, it is a Muro skill that somehow insta-kills the protagonist only, but petrifying devil. So I switched my Magatama in the second try and win it this time. After that, we are here back in Amara Network once again, but this time to meet Isamu. This time, Spectre will mess around with you by blocking the road you are taking if you took a wrong turn. It seems like everything in this game like punishing and torturing the player if they are not obeying what the game wants you to do. If I am thinking really hard into it, it looks like, yeah, the game is trying to give experience as to how harsh this world is, but at the same time, I can't help but think the people involved in SMT3 hates the player and wants me to suffer. Aside from that, you get to fight another boring battle with Spectre and then meet Isamu, who has now turned into a complete abomination called Edgy Isamu. He talks about how I wouldn't understand how it is to be alone, and that statement couldn't be far from true. I bet if it is about loneliness, I bet the protagonist knows that more than anybody in this game. Back at the terminal, Hijiri kinda looked pissed that Isamu got away and tells to take a stroll around Asakusa to see how far the city rebuilding has come. Next, to proceed the game, you must have talked to Kahaku in order to raise a flag, which is like really specific. She talks about how Hikawa has been seen in Mantra headquarters, and surely enough, if you go there, you can meet with Hikawa again. Turns out, he had already done collecting Magasuhi ever since he attacked Mantra headquarters before, and that's why he didn't prevent me from intruding Obelix. Here he talks about his ideal war, where people have one single goal, and that is to solve the war. Individual thinking are not allowed, which is like completely opposite to how Isamu wants his war, where people only have individual thoughts and collective thinking is not allowed. When he is gone, you won't be able to enter Mantra headquarters for a while. After that, go meet with Hijiri again. According to him, I need to go meet with Hitomimi next. Hitomimi is seen talking about how evil energy can be felt in Yoyogi Park. Surely, our next destination gotta be Yoyogi Park after that speech. This part is all about going around and raising event flags, but to mix things up, I'll be fighting Pay Rider next in Asakusa, which is the last horseman of the four, and the one that abused insta-K attacks the most. It got poison attacks and another attack that insta-K all poison targets, has a sleep attack and also an attack that insta-K all sleep target. Then its friend can also use Petra I and Mudo attacks, which can also insta-K, and so Tetraja is a must to have for this fight. For team composition, I got Daisojo and Hanuman. I also switched Hair Angel and Matador in and out to buff and debuff because the skill I chose to inherit my devils are all over the place. For inheriting skill process, you can try again and again until you inherit the skill you want in SMT3, but I am not that patient enough, so I stop whenever I want. Now to get to Yoyogi Park, you have to enter into Asakusa Tunnel. Since it is a tunnel, prepare to light things up in dark zones and walk through damaging zones. It is a short segment, so go through it fast and come out on other side and arrive in Yoyogi Park. Here in Yoyogi Park, we meet with Yuko again in this really cinematic role. There are a lot of cinematic shots like this in this game, and just like other 3D megaten games on PS2 console, SMT3 is on par with them, if not better in this kind of move-making scenes. I would love to wrap myself with blanket in cold night in that corner if I were a homeless character in Megaten universe. Anyways, Yugo talk about how she lacks the power to create her ID war unlike other three, and so she asks you to help her find an item in Yogi Park. By the way, this item is called Yahiro no Himorogi, and I have been intentionally omitting these names, anticipating that the viewer will remember them after a few seconds, let alone till the end of this video. But before I progress further into the dungeon, I grind a bit using the skill that increases encounter rate to save time, and here I am able to make Titania and Amaterasu. So aside from the normal fusion using 2 devils to make 1, there is also a cast fusion which can only be performed if your protagonist got cast from your own Magatama. And another one is called Sacrificial Fusion, which can only be performed during full moon phase by fusing 2 devils normally and then adding another devil as a sacrificial lamb. This fusion is needed to make a really strong devil like Amaterasu, but normally I use it to give a stat and level boost to save time to grind out skills for new devils. Then I dive into Third Amala Wall to collect more death stone to fuse more margins. This Third Amala Wall has stat check doors which will flat out not allow you to progress further until you have meet its threshold, and the stat cannot be supplemented from your Magatama, so I was not able to enter into the area locked behind leg step. And I need that room in particular because it has an NPC that sells death stone and also have a place where I can get Jaaku Frost. Spoilers, I will not be able to get it because it was too late to raise step by then, so no Jaaku Frost for my SND3 playthrough, which would have served otherwise as a really good late game tank ice attack spammer. Then once I got Red Rider and White Rider along with Amaterasu and Titania, I am set to dive into another dungeon. So after all that, we can now start crawling some dungeons again. And what a surprise, this Yogi Park is also not easy to clear as well. It is one giant blaze where once again, if you take one misstep, you are back at the start. See, these kind of stuff are what makes me think of game developer hating its own player. Then finally, after going through all of that problem, we meet with Sakahagi. He tells about a young woman who also came to see him quite a while ago, and he gave her quite a beating for trying to take away the item. And now it's our turn, so he sends out Giri Makala, and I have prepared Daisojo, Amaterasu and Titania for this fight. Though I have to say, I'm not really a fan of overall Amaterasu design in SND3, but I specifically love the shining light coming from his back. After the fight, return back to Yugo and gave her the item. But Sakahagi apparently had used all Magazuki inside the item, so Yugo was not all that happy. Then after a while, Yugo will get possessed by Aradia and starts rambling scary stuff, but I just reply I'm not afraid of anything it says. Then after dropping a hint that something is up in Ikebukuro, it disappears again. Now good thing, all the fairy wasp traps are gone because I had to go back all the way to the start after I defeat Sakahagi to give item to Yugo, and now I have to go all the way back again to exit Yogi Park from the west side. But before I leave, I took a quick detour to fight another Majin, Mother Haro. Mother Haro definitely have my favorite design out of all Majin in this game. I don't know, this Majin looks really reliable and really strong to have it on my team, which I eventually will for the late game bosses. It can attack normally for 6 times in one turn, which combo really well with the power storing skill that doubles the next physical attack. And also, it comes with its own signature AoE mental damaging attack, which is great to have in this mid to late game section of this game, where most devils will have really strong typing against most magic, so you can only reliably dish out damage with physical, mental or nerf damage at this point in game. For team composition, I have White Rider, Red Rider and Titania because only fire, ice and impact magic works on her. After that, go back to Ikebukuro and enter Gozu Tenno Room again. I hate to admit, but riding this elevator starts to piss me off after 4 or 5 times already. But good thing, this is the last time I will ever have to ride it again. Inside the room, you witness Chiaki and Gozu Tenno talking. Gozu Tenno says he wants to give her his power because their ID align with each other and that he can only do so much without a body to move around, so might as well give power to Chiaki. She then transformed into this thing, and I thought the design was really cool to look at. Chiaki looked really happy now that she has the power to change the world, and from this point onward, Mantra headquarters will be swarming with angels because of Chiaki. I thought devil-like incubus or succubus will be attracted by Chiaki, but no, it's the entire angel race that got attracted by her power. Back at the terminal, you find Hijiri acting really out of character. He has become completely consumed with his cylinder, saying things like he knows everything about this war now, talking about Tokyo Metropolitan Building, Mifuna Shiro and Amara Temple. which I will have to go pretty soon after this. Then he reveals he wants to be the one to create the war and not me, nor Hikawa, nor Yuko. And then just when Hijiri shows some kind of character development, Isamu immediately put him into Amara Network. So I do jump into it and meet Isamu there. He explains he is about to perform a ritual to summon his guardian, and he is going to take Hijiri to Amara Temple, which can be reached by going through this place. The third Amara Network has nothing. The only thing you need to do here is fight Spectre one last time, but this time it comes with a gimmick. You have to focus one Spectre at a time because if they all explode at once, your entire party will get wiped out, so proceed the fight with caution and not to underestimate these guys. This dungeon, compared to what I have went through before, is on the more balanced side. The puzzles are still there, but the dungeon is sweet and short. Like it has this really compact layout design. So you can go in any order to these three pyramids. I first entered the white one. This one has warp puzzle and the place you warp to change depending on the direction you enter from. Then in the end you get to fight with Albion. I love how this guy looks. Kind of remind me of Upgrade from Ben 10 for some reason. Which by the way is my favorite transformation in Ben 10 after Cannonball. Now the gimmick here is it is better if you can defeat all of them in one sweep, because if you defeat the big one first, the small one will fully revive it back, and if you were to clean the small one first, the big one will bring out 4 of them again. So I brought Giri Mekla, Hell Angel and Goku Makuku to dish out an AoE physical damage to them. And Hell Angel has a passive skill called All Attack, which turns your normal attack to AoE normal attack. So he was able to dish out reliable physical damage to all of them, and I was able to clean all of them in one turn after stacking buffs. Next, I want to do the black one, and as you might have guessed it, this entire dungeon is a dark zone and some pitfalls here and there. The boss here is RCA, who has the pattern that you need to look out for. When you start to absorb MP from your party, it will surely follow up the next turn with an unguardable attack that reduces all your party member HP to 1. So before that turn comes, put a Tetracan, a physical reflect wall to prevent any leader follow-up physical attacks after your HP got reduced to 1. If possible, putting up Tetracan every single day is recommended for this boss fight if your MP allows it. And finally, I went inside red one. This dungeon has the shadow area, which will clip you through the shadow section of the dungeon if you step on it, and you need to utilize it in order to get to the boss of the dungeon, Sukadi. Sukadi can resist everything except for 4 magic attacks, so use them and put on Tetracan. In fact, if you have Magakaja, a skill that buffs your magic attack, it is better to have it with you from this point onward till the game ends, because the difference will be night and day if you don't. After defeating bosses in 3 locations, you can now enter the middle one where Isamu is waiting. This little shit is just reaping all my hard work by doing absolutely nothing, while talking down on me and all that. Isamu is definitely the character I hate the most in SMU3. I wouldn't say he is my least favorite character by any means, as I believe main characters that don't evoke any emotion in me are the worst that media has to offer for their consumers. After a few exchanges between Isamu and Hijiri, he dropped Hijiri into a pool and let me become a fool for their guardian, Noah, to emerge. I also don't like how Noah looks if I have to compare with how other 2 guardians look. It has this transparent invisible concept to it, which I guess will be more accurate design for the final dungeon, but judging from the looks, I don't really want Noah design to be this simple with Isamu floating as an eyeball and all. Once you go outside, Angel came to draw about how their leader Chiaki is in Asakusa, so I'll be heading there next. This is a short dungeon and is the most beautiful place out of all dungeons in SMU3 with water in the cave and all. But the side at the end, not so much. You see, Chiaki is coming here to collect Magasuhi from Manekata, who is incredibly weak compared to everyone else in this world. Futomimi is seen in pinch, and it is up to you to decide to help him or not. I felt really sad looking at Futomimi's pathetic state, so I decided to stop Chiaki. But no matter what you choose here, it's the end for Futomimi, as she can be seen walking towards him while 3 archangels came down to destroy you. So we had to fight with Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel, and I got Giri Mekla, Red Rider, and Satan Taisei. If the fight with 3 Moirai sisters taught me anything, it is to defeat the healer first, which in this case is Raphael. Then Uriel is next because he can keep increasing time, and then finally Gabriel, who is the main attacker. After the fight, Futomimi is dead, and Chiaki is amazed how he did not die the way she thought mad people would have died. And I too am amazed by how evil Chiaki has become. Chiaki then summoned Baya Avada as our guardian. she started sprouting really old Japanese, so I wasn't able to understand much, but there was Ginza in our lines, so I guess we will be heading there next. But out of all places in Ginza, the only place left to explore in Yurakucho Tunnel, so I head there, and now it's time to prepare for the final margin fight in SMD3. Unfortunately, you need a certain degree of luck involved to win this fight, as well as some note-taking manually. First, Trumpeter use full HP and MP recovery skill that targets a unit who has the lowest HP after every 4 turns, so you actually need to note it down to kinda manipulate how much damage you need to do and take and all that. Then after 8th turn, he will use the insta-kill attack that simply kill one unit, and because of that attack, I died once to this boss fight, and here's where luck factor came in. But on the second try, he insta-killed one of the other devil instead, and the trick was supposed to have the one that was killed revive at a half HP and store it in the stock, and then you swap your edit party after the 4th turn so that he get full recovery when Trumpeter use the recovery skill and to rinse and repeat. That said, I beat Trumpeter around 11 turns, so good thing I don't have to go through all that calculation stuff for long. And that's wrap things up with margin business for this game. I like how the game doesn't give you any special event or anything and just left you where you were before you fight margin. Like there is no celebration or anything. It's just you against the wall alone until the game ends, and that's it. Yurakucho Tunnel is the last tunnel you have to go through. As always, there are dark rooms, pitfalls, and one-way doors. There is also this optional thing where you have to wait for 8 to 10 moon cycles. But if you give Titan to Miner, he'll be able to finish digging in 8 moon cycles. You get an idea by doing this, but I only realized this was totally optional after I waited 8 moon cycles grinding away levels during that time, which were by the way done intentionally, as I am going to need those high levels to fuse devil for my final team composition for the last dungeon. Once you get out of Yurakucho Tunnel, you will arrive in Tokyo Metropolitan Building, which is like a staple in megaten games at this point. And in SMD3 specifically, it is a giant mass of dungeon to plow through. First off, I fought Suru with Amaterasu, Sorone, and White Rider. Then I go down these corridors where you won't know if it is fake or real until you are close to it. As for me, I had to get close the entire way to check if it is real or not, because I am playing on a lower resolution to save some storage space for the footage, and that's just one example of optical illusion trick that this dungeon will pull on you. Like this one where the wave will turn in weird angle to give false sense of depth and all that. Then there are these fake doors that send you back to start and walk past it, where if you take a wrong turn, this stupid statue will put up walls to block the path and all that annoying things. And why are you going through all that? You have to fight with mini boss along the way, like Suru from before. Second one is Mada. I got White Rider, Red Rider, and Amaterasu for him. And then for Moto, I also brought the same team composition for the fight. Like I have stated before, the fight will go faster or slower depending on whether you can boost your magic attack with Makakaja or not, as magic attacks only works on 3 of them. Then finally, we get to fight Mitora. I brought White Rider, Red Rider, and Kimakura to the fight. Mitora likes using insta-kill attack, so put up the wall every time and you are good to go. After all those trouble, all you need now is to take an elevator to the top and meet with Hikama and Yuko in this really headache-inducing room. Turns out Yuko pulled me to her own mess because she knew she won't be able to achieve what she wanted without my help, and a high school student at that. Then when all hope seemed but lost, Aratia abandoned Yuko as they can no longer do anything in this room, leaving our helpless teacher behind. So while I tried to help her, Hikawa sent out Samae to buy some time for the ritual. I got Amaterasu, Titania, and White Rider for the fight, and I struggled quite a bit since I was unlucky and half of my party got affected with bad status, so I had to improvise stuff up along the way as the fight progressed, but managed to beat it in the end nonetheless. After the fight, it was too late, as Yugo is gone for good and Hikawa has awakened his guardian, Ariman. But before Yugo disappeared, she gave back the item Yahiro no Himorogi and tells you to go back to Amara Temple to open the path to Kagusuji Tower. And so that leaves us with one last dungeon to crawl, and I had to take an entire day off to cook some strong devil for my team composition before we plunge into the longest climb of this game by far. So once I have done my final preparation, I head back to Obelisk where it connects to Kakuzuchi Tower. But before that, be sure to pick up the Infinite MP Buffet item by entering Obelisk from the back, which is inaccessible before. You are definitely going to need it for upcoming fights, or else you will run out of resources before you know it. And it is here you can decide Yugo's goal ending or go back to Armada War to get Armada War ending. And I'm sure I'm definitely not going back to that hole again, so I head straight to Kakuzuchi Tower with no hesitation at all. Just as you might expect that, this Kakuzuchi Tower deserves to be called the last dungeon. First climb until the boss fight consists of maneuvering lift after lift, going up, going down, those kind of stuff that make full use of the 3D map layout, which all culminates with meeting Ariman in the end. The first boss phase had me play with this little game where you die if you don't listen to what he says. For example, if Ariman says don't heal, don't heal. Keep doing that while dealing damage and you can win. As for the team composition, I have Yuria, Madaharo and Kari. Kari's design looks badass as always. I wouldn't want to make an enemy of her if she exists in real life. Anyways, I was a bit disappointed when I fought Ariman and the boss fight music didn't change. But then when the second boss phase started, the music changed and I got really hyped, and my desire to listen to this music again pushed me enough to keep fighting bosses until the end. So for the second boss phase, the only difference is that he will stop playing the game and start attacking us. Aside from buffing and debuffing like usual, you can put a Tetracan to reflect his tentacle attack back at him for extra damage option. All in all, a decent fight I would say. Next climb include walking on invisible walls. This was what I was saying about Noah's law accurate design that combines with the dungeon layout. It was a little clever teaser for the fight ahead, though it ended up as my least favorite one to fight amongst the 4 bosses. Here's why. Noah's can change type mid better, and if you hit him with ground type, it will reflect back at you and took all your turns away. The typing he changed goes from this order: fire, ice, electric, and impact. So hit him with magic in this order: ice, fire, impact, then electric. You can also test which type he is on right now by observing the moves he used. During this fight, I lost track of which type he is on, and so I took quite a beating because of it. And it also doesn't help that starting from second boss phase, he will start using magic attacks and only start normal attacking. So unless you are constantly keeping track of his type, you will be lost like me for sure. Prepare to stack up those Makakaja, because I remember this boss fight took me quite a while to beat. As for my team composition, I had Madaharo, Amaterasu and Titania. And then comes the final climb of this dungeon. It combines invisible floors, pitfalls and warp puzzles. The combination couldn't be any more worse than this, I swear. But this is the last time I had to do puzzles, so might as well go all out on this one. So I did that and fight with Ba Avada in the end. This boss fight technically is a two-phase boss fight better, because she will heal all of her HP after summoning angel versions of Ose and Flauros. I don't know the design philosophy behind these two and why these two specifically, but I thought it was pretty cool to look at. Now what I wasn't expecting was Ba Avada took me even longer than Noah to beat, because as long as I don't defeat Ose first, it will just keep removing debuff for Ba Avada, and it was really annoying. And you cannot miss a single time putting up magic reflect walls, because Ba Avada will not start turning you into fly every single turn. And that's where the infinite MP reflect item came to use. Aside from being another long attrition war, it was a really simple fight. As for my team composition, I had Madaharo, Rakushumi and Trumpeter. And now after all that, I had to fight with the moon itself, Kakuzuchi, and settle things once and for all. Now for the first boss phase, you need to look out for the moon sake, because Kakuzuchi will use this unguardable universal attack once every full moon, so buff and debuff in earnest. If possible, rush buffing your defenses even if it means passing turns to get there fast, because that attack is no joke. Aside from that, the final boss has a ton of HP to chip away, so prepare yet again for another long fight. As for me, I had this awesome boss fight music accompanying me, so I had no problem to sit through the entire fight. I was really looking forward to see what kind of second boss phase is going to be like and what form the boss will change to. And to my ultimate disappointment, like Noah's second boss form, Kakuzuchi also transformed into a giant face. I never understood why the face and always the face. I remember fighting these big face in Devil Survivor games as well and felt the same way. And here we are all again. Now this time, the boss fight will start in full moon phase and will stay in full mode until the end, so you won't be able to predict when they will shoot out that thing again. But fortunately, it was big before shooting out that ridiculously strong attack, so again, buff and debuff and charge those physical attacks and keep chipping away non-stop. If you have the passive skill that boosts crit rate during full moon phase, you will have a much easier time. Or if you have unlocked the protagonist universal attack from Kaida's Magatama, which unfortunately I didn't have both, so I had to do the normal way and fight a long battle. But I managed to keep chipping away until it dies, so all is well in the end. After defeating Kagusuchi, I woke up inside my own bedroom like nothing ever happened before. So the ending was like it was all a dream kind of scenario. Then Isamu came to pick me up to go and visit our teacher Yugo along with Chiaki. Everyone else is alive, including Hijiri, maybe even Hikawa, and of course Yugo is back and alive as well. Seems like Yugo is the only one who retains the memory and maybe protagonist as well, but we will never know for sure, unfortunately. And that's the end of the video for Shin Megami Tensei 3. If I have to leave any message to anyone who is interested in trying out this franchise for yourself like me, I say go for it. Especially SM3 is definitely a game you should try at least once. Not because I enjoy it or I think it is the best game in the franchise, which for me goes to Devil Survivor games, and it is not even the mainline number game, but because it has what I feel like the game that gives off the most megaten vibe, minus the sci-fi post-apocalyptic setting which I wish this game had. But SM4 fulfilled my wish, so I think they knew what the fans want to some capacity with the later titles. It is also hard for me to sum up or express how I feel about the game because I barely remember how I feel by the time I write the script except the memorable parts, which I put everything I remember well into the script. I remember feeling really frustrated most of the time throughout the game, but the sunk cost fallacy keeps me coming back to the game, and then at some point I genuinely started to want to keep playing the game just because of how bad I want to know what's going to happen next. And I remember wanting to see how it ends so badly, and when it ends, I felt like all the stress inside my body just disappeared, and it was a really good feeling. Now that I am able to share with people on this platform who are interested enough to click on the video, so thank you so much for watching till the end. I took my time and really pushed myself to the limit again once more, so I'll be back again with more Megaten Games content after I heat up my Megaten fatigue and after I dig up some of your requested game or games I find interesting personally. Before I get busy with my life again, I'll try and put up more videos for you guys, but really, it's just my excuse to play new games and experience more stuff for myself, which has been great so far. And even if the game ends up really bad, I can still share it on this platform, so that incentive alone is enough for me to keep going. But as always, I'm Nai, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.